Okay, so I want you to imagine a scenario. I think it's one a lot of us have been in, or at least we've seen a friend go through it.
For sure.
You get into some kind of arrangement with someone. Maybe it's, a casual thing. Maybe it's a professional dynamic that's super strict, or it's one of those modern situationships.
Ones with a built-in expiration date.
Exactly. You both know the clock is ticking, and because you're a smart, self-aware person, you actually agree on the terms. You look at each other and say, this is what this is, and this is what it isn't.
You build what the philosopher Pedro Malha calls a scaffolding of clarity.
Yes, that phrase. You think you're safe. You've got the blueprints. You've defined the boundaries.
It's the whole contemporary approach, isn't it? This belief that if we can just, name a thing, we can control it.
Yeah.
If we label the box, nothing's going to spill out.
Right. You have total intellectual clarity. But
But-
then something shifts without asking. No rules are broken. Nobody lied. But suddenly, you care. And not just a little. You feel this heavy attachment that just completely defies the logic of the situation. And that disconnect. That's what we're diving into today.
It's a really fascinating and, a very vulnerable place to start a deep dive. We're looking at this amazing essay by Pedro Malha, Attachment Without Permission.
And our mission today is to unpack that really specific, uncomfortable conflict. The war between your brain, which knows all the rules, and your emotional reality, which apparently did not get the memo.
It feels like a quiet failure, doesn't it? Like you're failing at self-governance. But what I love about Malha's work here is that he doesn't frame it as just a personal failure. Oh, I'm too needy.
Right.
He frames it as a philosophical challenge to our entire idea of agency. We're so obsessed with consent and boundaries, and we have this belief that if we just state our intentions clearly, our feelings will just fall in line.
Like little soldiers. And Mala's here to tell us, no, they won't. The soldiers might actually mutiny. So let's get into the mechanics of this. How does this uninvited guest, as he calls it, even get in the house? Malha makes a distinction right at the start between two types of attachment.
Right, so you have the one we're all comfortable with. He calls it attachment that arrives with ceremony.
Ceremony. That sounds pretty formal. What does that mean in a relationship?
It's all about intention. It's public. It's when you say we are dating or we're partners, it's named, it has a shape, it follows a script society gives
With
us.
the authorized, you sign the lease, everybody knows you live there.
Exactly. It feels safe because it feels chosen. But of course, the essay is about the second type, the attachment that arrives without an invitation. Malha says it doesn't care if you're ready. It ignores that whole scaffolding you built. It just shows up.
And the really scary part is the stealth. It's not like you wake up and decide, today I will become attached. It's so quiet. He says it often settles in long after you thought the terms were already set.
Well, I'd say it's not even a big boom, a boom you'd notice. It's more like a creep. Malha says this happens in these spaces that are supposed to be contained. And crucially, no one lied. There was no deception.
That's the part that messes you up. Because usually when you get hurt, you look for the villain, right? They promised me a future, or they were dishonest. But here, there's no lie. The other person is doing exactly what they said they would do.
No lie, just exposure. The way in isn't some grand gesture. It's repetition. It's familiarity. It's the slow buildup of shared silences and inside jokes. Malha calls it the ordinary act of being recognized by another person again and again.
Oh, that line, the ordinary act of being recognized. It's so simple, but think about how powerful that is. You can agree to keep it casual, but you can't really agree to not be seen.
That's the whole thing. If someone sees you day after day, your emotional system just responds to that. We're wired for it. Your body is reacting to the reality of the connection, not the legal definition you gave it. Your body just knows it feels good to be there.
Which leads to maybe the most challenging point in the whole essay. Because this is where the standard advice we give friends just completely falls apart.
The fantasy myth. We've all been on both sides of this.
Oh, absolutely. I've given this advice. A friend says, I'm getting attached, and I immediately say, oh, you're just projecting. You're in love with their potential. You're living in a fantasy.
Right. We just assume they must be deluding themselves about the future, that the attachment is fueled by some lie they're telling themselves.
And that if you just accepted reality, the feelings would magically disappear.
But Malha says that is completely wrong. And this is a huge distinction he makes. He argues this specific type of attachment does not need fantasy to grow. You can have total intellectual clarity. You can know for a fact they are leaving in a month. You can accept that reality without protest.
So you're not delusional. You're not sitting there planning a wedding. You know exactly what the expiration date is.
Exactly. You aren't waiting for a future. But, and this is the twist, something inside you organizes itself around their presence anyway. Not because you think it's going somewhere, but simply because, in his words, it already has.
That is terrifying. It's like your body has already moved in and unpacked, while your brain is at the door holding up a sign that says, short-term rental only.
Perfect analogy.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that disconnect, the primary emotion here isn't love.
Yeah.
It's not even anger, it's shame.
The internal scolding. I
Yeah.
felt that part, that little voice going, I should know better, or this isn't what I agreed to, or why am I being so weak?
It's so corrosive. You try to use the facts of the arrangement to, beat your own feelings into submission. You start gaslighting yourself with your own logic.
And that leads to this really profound isolation. Because you can't really tell anyone, can you? If you try to explain it, people just don't get the nuance.
No, there's no clean language for it. We have words for breakups and cheating. But this, if you say you're hurt, people assume the other person must be a jerk or that you were lying to yourself all along.
It's hard to get sympathy when you basically did it to yourself.
Exactly. It's almost impossible to explain. I was honest, they were decent, we respected the boundaries, and I'm still heartbroken. It doesn't compute, so you just stay silent.
And you end up living what Mala calls a strange double life.
Yes, the external you and the internal you completely split. Externally, you are the perfect citizen of the arrangement. You don't make demands. You respect the rules. You're the cool girl or the chill guy.
I'm cool with whatever, famous last words.
But internally,
Mhm.
he calls it a subtle reorientation of your emotional landscape. Their absence feels different. Their attention has weight. You're living in this high-stakes emotional drama that no one else can even see.
It's like trying to hold your breath underwater. On the surface, everything is still. Underneath, your lungs are burning. And this gets even more complicated when we talk about, well, bodies. The essay goes right there, into sexual contexts.
It does. And it really critiques this very modern idea that we should be able to compartmentalize, that evolved adults can separate physical closeness from emotional investment just by deciding to.
It's just physical. It's just for fun. Like we can just operate our bodies manually, flip the physical switch on, but keep the emotional one off.
But Ma says when that fails, it feels like a betrayal of your own intentions. And he offers this really profound insight into what we're actually attached to.
Go on.
Because often, in these casual things, you don't even know the person that well. You might not know their middle name or what they're like when they're sick.
Right. So what are you attached to?
He suggests you become attached to a particular version of yourself that emerges in their presence.
Oof. Okay, unpack that.
Yes.
Because that sounds a little narcissistic at first.
It's not, though. It's about resonance. Think about it. We all have different versions of ourselves, right? The work you, the family you. But sometimes, in these quiet, intimate spaces, a part of you comes out that doesn't exist anywhere else. Maybe you're softer. Maybe you feel less alone.
It's like they have a key to a room in your house that's usually locked.
Exactly. And you like being in that room.
Yeah.
You're not trying to possess them. You're trying to hold on to that feeling of recognition. So when they leave, you get locked out of that room in yourself.
It's not just losing them, it's losing the you that you were with them. That feels so much harder to get over.
It is.
Yeah.
And remember, you might not even want a real relationship with this person. Intellectually, you might know it would never work.
Right. You hate their politics or they live on the other side of the world.
You're not trying to change the terms. It's not a request. It's a condition. It's just a fact you now have to carry.
Okay, so we've got the uninvited guest, the shame, the double life. At this point in the essay, I am desperate for a solution. I'm waiting for the paragraph that says, and here's how you fix it. 3 steps to get your chill back.
And that is exactly what Mala refuses to do.
It's so frustrating. I want the life hack.
I know. He says explicitly, there is no arc, no lesson, no transformation. This isn't a movie where you learn a valuable lesson about self-worth.
Or where you have a big realization and strut down the street to some pop song.
None of that.
Yeah.
You don't emerge wiser. You just emerge knowing that, as he puts it, you can be careful and still be affected. You can do everything right and still get hurt.
It just shatters that idea that we can optimize our emotions, that our minds are software, and if we just have the right code, the right boundaries, it'll run without bugs.
But maybe this isn't a bug. Maybe it's a feature. Mala asks, what if this isn't a malfunction? What if attachment is just an emotional fact rather than a moral one?
Let's pause on that. An emotional fact rather than a moral one. That takes all the judgment out of it. It's not, I'm weak for feeling this. It's just, this feeling is here. Like rain. You don't blame the sky for rain.
Exactly. It removes the shame. And that leads to what he calls a quiet grief. It's not grieving what you lost, because you never really had it to begin with.
You can't grieve a breakup if you were never together.
Right. But you can grieve a capacity that has nowhere to go. All this tenderness, all this connection that was sparked, it has to stay inside. It can't be expressed without breaking the rules, so it just sits there.
Capacity that has nowhere to go. That feels like the perfect definition for this kind of heartbreak. So,
Yeah.
if there's no fix, no lesson, what's left?
The essay talks about endurance.
Endurance and coexistence. You just have to live with the contradiction. You hold two truths. I respect the external boundaries, and I respect the internal truth of my feelings.
That sounds exhausting.
It is. And maybe the hardest part, the thing he leaves us with, is that you have no defense.
What do you mean?
In a normal conflict, you have a position, a grievance. You hurt me, or this was unfair. You can be indignant. But here, you were there. You consented. You agreed. You can't claim innocence.
You signed the waiver and still got hit by the ball. You can't sue.
And that leaves you without the comfort of being a victim. You just have the reality of being human and porous.
Porous. That's such a good word for it. We like to think we're these watertight vessels, but we leak, we absorb, and this experience just shows us we are not the sole authorities of our inner worlds. We can govern our actions, sure. We can choose not to text, but we can't govern the resonance inside us.
It's humbling. You realize you're not the CEO of your brain. You're just the person at the front desk dealing with whoever walks in.
That's a great way of putting it.
So what does this essay actually tell us to do then? When we're in this situation staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m.
It tells us to stop trying to solve it. It asks for recognition, not management. Mala says the attachment simply exists. And the only way through is to stop fighting the fact that it's there.
To stop telling yourself you shouldn't feel this way.
Exactly. To accept that accuracy, I am attached, is better than the comfort of a lie. It doesn't fix the pain, but it stops the war against yourself.
That's heavy, but it's also kind of liberating. You didn't fail at being an adult. You just felt.
You just encountered the limits of your own control.
Well, there you have it. A deep dive into the messy, uninvited reality of attachment. It definitely makes me look at my own boundaries a little differently.
It's a good reminder that clarity is a tool, but it's not a shield.
Absolutely. So here's a final thought to carry with you. We spend so much time curating our lives, right? Our feeds, our careers. We think if we just curate it well enough, we can avoid discomfort. But maybe this essay is a reminder that the most profound parts of being alive are the things we didn't curate.
The things that happen without permission.
Exactly. So the next time you feel something you didn't approve, maybe don't rush to evict it. Just notice it's there. Denying it won't make it leave any faster.
And it's real.
Thank you for listening to this deep dive. We'll see you next time.